Hi, this video is for Monday, April 6th for trigonometry. We're going to start talking about complex numbers. So today we're going to add and subtract complex numbers. So a complex number is any number that can be written in this form. Okay, so A is the real part and BI is the imaginary part because that I is what makes it imaginary. So the whole thing together makes it a complex number. And you might be wondering, well, what's an imaginary number? Well, that's a good question. Imaginary numbers come from trying to find the square root of a negative number. So I itself is actually representing the square root of -1. And you can't really graph those things on the real Cartesian coordinate graph that you're used to, but later this week I'm going to teach you how to graph those. Actually, I think it's next week, but anyways, we'll get to that. Today we're going to be adding and subtracting complex numbers, so it's basically just combining like terms, and for now we're going to treat the I as if it were an X, even though it represents an imaginary number. Okay, so we're going to get started with it. The first example we're going to be adding. So we're adding complex numbers. Alright, so part A says 3 plus 2i plus 5 plus 4i. And we're going to see what that equals. Okay, so I told you it was like combining like terms. So 3 and 5 are the real parts. So 3 plus 5 is 8. And 2i and 4i are the imaginary parts. So 2i plus 4i equals 6i. Now you don't write I squared because we're not multiplying them. And when you add, you do not increase the exponent. You keep it the same. Because if we were to add 4x and 2x, it would just make 6x, not 6x squared. So we have our final answer, 8 plus 6i. And that's it. Okay, so we're going to try part B now. Part B says 6 minus 3i plus 1 plus 5i. Okay, so 6 plus 1 is 7, and negative 3i plus 5i would be 2i. And it's positive, so plus 2i. Okay, so I hope that's making sense so far. We're combining like terms, so 6 plus 1 was 7, negative 3i plus 5i was 2i. Okay, so I'm going to erase those and we're going to do the next two parts. Alright, so the third part says negative 4 plus 6i plus 2 minus 3i. Okay, so negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. And 6i plus negative 3i is 3i. Okay, so that's it. Now, sometimes we're going to have situations where either the real parts will cancel out or the imaginary parts will cancel out. And we're going to see that on part D. Because part D says 7 plus 2i plus negative 7 minus 8i. Okay, so here 7 plus negative 7. So 7 minus 7 is 0, right? So for now we can write that down. 0. 2i plus negative 8i is going to be negative 6i. So you can either write your answer like that, or to be more precise, we're going to write negative 6i. Okay, so do you see how the real parts canceled out there? And so we just had an imaginary part for our answer. Alright, so hopefully that makes sense so far. Next, on example 2, we're going to be subtracting complex numbers. Alright, so example 2, we're subtracting complex numbers. The first one is 2 plus 3i minus 7 plus 6i. Okay, so 2 minus 7 is negative 5. And 3i minus 6i, so 3 minus 6 is negative 3i. Okay, so that's it. That's the answer. Okay. Part B says 10 minus 8i minus 6 plus 8i. So 10 minus 6 is 4. Negative 8i minus 8i. Be careful, these don't cancel out because this is a negative minus something more. So that's negative 16i. Okay, so that's it. Alright, so are you ready for the last two? Okay. Alright, so we have negative 7 plus 16i minus 8 plus 16i. So negative 7 minus 8 makes negative 15. And then 16 minus 16. So 16i minus 16i. Those are going to cancel out, and that's 0. So that's what we actually have going on, and our final answer is going to be negative 15. So that's it. Okay. Now the last one, part D, says 4 minus 8i minus 4 plus 10i. Okay, so 4 minus 4, that's going to be 0. Negative 8i minus 10i is going to be negative 18i. Okay, so our final answer there is going to be negative 18i. Okay. So your Google form for the day will deal with those two topics, adding and subtracting complex numbers. So if you need any help, let me know. I think you're all doing great so far on your assignments. So keep it up. Keep working hard. Like I said, I'm here if you need me. So that's it. And tomorrow we will be multiplying complex numbers.